teachers who are men now make more money than their women colleagues here in Wisconsin.
And a UW-Madison researcher says the reason for this new trend is Act 10. Capitol Bureau Chief Greg Newman is digging deeper into that story tonight.
Saying right up front, the pay gap is a modest one, favoring men by just $300 a year. But if the private sector is any indication, that divide could grow wider. When full collective bargaining was in place across Wisconsin's 424 public school districts, teacher pay was based on experience and level of education. That is no longer the case since the inception of Act 10.
It's a real culture shift when you go from everybody being comparable, except for experience and education, and then all of a sudden shifting that just based on, when you hired and scarcity, even though you have the same, somebody with less experience is now getting paid more.
That change has caused another shift.
What we saw is after Act 10, when we got rid of collective bargaining, essentially, we do see a growing pay gap for men.
Goff says that's because the public school system in Wisconsin now more closely resembles the private sector, where women earn about 79 cents for every dollar a man earns.
One of the things that's fairly well known in the business literature is that men tend to be a little bit more aggressive in negotiating for pay. And there's also some evidence that when women are equally aggressive in negotiating for pay, that they're penalized for it. They're seen as being pushy.
The director of 9 to 5 Wisconsin, a group that fights for women's employment rights, says Goff's findings mirror their own.
Sometimes offensive, I've heard from managers hearing a woman requesting a raise, whereas a man is due a raise because he is just so more, whether it's competent or he has a family, there's so many other explanations that's given to a man when he asks for a raise.
Goff's findings on the gender pay gap come from a more comprehensive study he's working on regarding Wisconsin's teacher shortage, which will be released in October. We asked Governor Scott Walker's spokesperson for a comment on these findings, but have yet to get a response.